Hey there, and welcome on the journey to transform culture. If you've watched many of my videos, and I do have some gum in my mouth, so I apologize up front, try to minimize that. But if you've watched any of my videos in the past, you've seen the one where I was out in nature, sitting in a nice grassy field with the trees and the green leaves blowing and in a very peaceful way. Well, this is a wintertime version, right? So still still pretty. Trees still look pretty cool. They're not as green as they were in the summertime, but still pretty. And there's the green grass, aka the brown grass. And so today, let's talk a little bit about the seasons, right? We go through seasons. We go through the summertime when things have bloomed. Well, let's start with spring. Spring, when everything blooms and love is in the air, whatever, right? The grass starts to green up, things start to transition and become brighter and a little bit more, you start to feel a little more amplitude. Nature even starts to pick up its pace and get excited about the coming sunshine, right? And we go through that season, and that's an exciting, fun season. That's a season of new beginnings, right? Then we get to the summer, and it's really hitting a stride in that new beginning. I remember last year when I wrote the book, I finished it kind of at the end of spring, I guess you could say. And, it was excitement and it was fun and, had that synergy going. And that bled into the summer, which, definitely felt that. And this channel started kind of after the book, I guess about June. So I guess it was summer. So hit the stride, start doing that, building it and everything. And then, of course, because the book kind of represents a reset on my approach to helping organizations to improve, what I realized going through the process of writing the book was, and I apologize for the wind, what I realized was, this is when I was trying to name the book, I was like, okay, what do I name it? I just sit back and say, okay, what am I really doing here? Well, one of the things I talk about in the book was I'd have to live 3,000 years to make an impact. What's a way that I could, kind of give some of my lessons learned and perspectives, right? We all have perspectives, and perspectives are fun and exciting, I think. I love to listen to other people's opinions and feedback and everything else. It's neat. It adds color. It's a kaleidoscope of who we all are, right? But it was that whole notion that, well, I'll do the book because that way I can at least kind of get the information out there and my perspectives. Great. Then you trip forward into the whole notion that whole point of doing a lot of that was laying the groundwork for the new approach to helping organizations and the culture at large to help to transform, which is why the title became what it became. The journey to transform culture. As I stepped back, what was what were we really doing? What are we really doing? We're trying to transform culture, right? And not in an arm twisting way. I do present the whole notion of we're here to protect love, and I do think that that's a baseline. If we're not doing that, we're getting off the path, right? It's like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. If we're not doing that, we're getting snatched up by the flying monkeys and we're falling asleep in the poppy fields, right? And some are. So, but that's kind of the whole notion, right? Is that transformation is a good thing. Transformation is something we should always be doing. I mean, it should be I'm sure it's embedded in the definition of life. Life is ever transforming, and through these seasons, right? So we hit summertime, and we're hitting our stride, and we're picking up the pace. and we're really starting to, synergize, and we're having an impact on each other in good ways and sometimes not so good ways, and we're recovering. And then we go hard through the summer, right? Because we really just want to, take advantage of that season of life, right? And then as we get tired, as nature needs to take a break too, we start to hit fall. And what do we see? The beautiful fall colors. The beautiful fall colors kind of represent a tapestry of, I guess you could say, the onset of winter, but it is kind of the beginning of change, right? It is the absolute visible aspect of transformation. You don't see transformation visibly in nature so much in summer, right? You see it in spring, right? And it's a positive thing. We start to see it in fall, and everybody has their favorite season, right? But if you see it in fall, you might be thinking, oh, geez, winter's coming, right? Transformation, I got to do the, winterize the house and the car and the this and the that, and whatever your life consists of, right? You may take it on as a drudgery. And then others are sprinting. If you're in an organization, if you're going by the fiscal year, you're in a sprint, right? This is the time when I would say leading up to the end of the fiscal year, if you can get an improvement project in, even in like late summer, early summer, late summer, late spring, early spring, new year, a little tougher in the new year. But if you can do that, not only get it, it's a tax write-off to do so, but also it creates a surge. Remember, if you're going on 90-day cycles, and for a lot of folks, you don't realize that's a quarter, right? And organizations will show their profit, and really, what is profit? It is just a metric to show if we're being successful or not, along with all kinds of other metrics. But it isn't the only metric, and we can't get there using gimmicks either, right? Layoffs and things that we've talked about in the past on videos, but every 90 days. So you don't want to start an improvement project at the end of your 90 days, unless it's like the last week or something like that, and you've already pretty much, sealed up the quarter. But you don't want to start that new project, probably right at the end, right toward the end. You want to do that in the beginning. Right? It's the same way with material. People who purchase, right? You got waves, and you have turns, right? Inventory turns. And for people who know what inventory turns are, if you don't, that's okay. Don't sweat it. You can easily Google it. It's not a big deal. But things go in waves. If I bring things in, I want them to be out the door before the end of the quarter. Why is that? I want my differential between what I have laying around what I have out there to be at its least. I don't want a big pile of inventory, whether that be product or materials, in excess at the end of a quarter, right? And that means that you are ordering and cycling so that right as the beginning of the new quarter comes, boom, I got all my new raw materials to be able to push through to get through, within the 90 days. Obviously, you can have specific orders that go out quicker than that and inside that time frame. We're not talking about that. So that's kind of the ebbs and flows. So there's a seasonality to the organization too, right? If you see that transformation, you're always in a transformation, whether it be how you operate, how your attitude, mentally, physically, the weather, right? The seasons, all of it. And so this whole transformation of the seasons and the times of year, we imbibe this in our organizations and how we operate, and we imbibe this in our lives and with our families too. And then there's so we're in fall, right? We hit fall, and it's 50-50. Some are kind of starting to kind of hunker down, and others are sprinting, trying to get ready. And the fall colors, if you like the fall colors, or if you have a trip planned, or if you've got some things built in, festivals, things like that, these are really fun, right? These are also celebrations. Your fall festivals, your harvest festivals and all these different things are coming around, in mid-late fall. So anyway, so we're cooking along, right? And then we hit to Thanksgiving, and it's a time to look back and be thankful, right? And thankfulness is such an interesting concept, right? Because if you look back, it's not just thankfulness for the successes and the gains and the advances you made and the transformation, although it is. We also have to be thankful for the lessons we learned, right? And release any negative association with that there's a negative association with those lessons learned. Because some lessons are hard, right? Some are painful, some are difficult. And then we have to have empathy for people who are going through these seasons of life offset to the seasons around them. Some people are going through their winter in the summer, right? They're going through difficult things personally. Just as an example, spring, summer, fall, it could be any time of year. So you have to keep in mind different people are in different seasons of their life. I'm not sure exactly why, but I do know that I have a 7-year, and I believe there's something to this. I think our body recycles all of its cells or something like that every 7 years or something. And you can probably look that up. At least to a certain age. I'm sure as we get older, not so much. But that there's the cycles of life, right? Those are the seasons of life, and those are broader, than just a few months at a time or a quarter. Okay, so we look back with thankfulness and appreciation for the lessons we learned, the people who came and went in our lives, and the people who are still around in our lives, right? Because that whole notion that some people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, there's truth to that. I believe that's probably translated as fallen forward through the ages from the ancient times. Reason, a season, or a lifetime. And if you look at it from that perspective, then you can be thankful. Right? And as we finish that out, then we ease on into winter time. Everybody kind of goes, okay, everything kind of goes, okay, what I need, not more than I need. But there are people who fight the seasons. And then some of that fighting is the holidays times, right? When we're decorating and we're getting ready and we're having a good time. And, there's celebrations and all of these things that we do. And those are special. We got to do those things. But it is also a difficult time for some people because it is also this winter season. It could also remind people of the winter of their lives. So it can be a difficult time. Not like this grass. People can feel low. They can feel dormant. They can feel unseen, unappreciated, right? We tend to appreciate a grain field more than, say, one that's in its, dormant winter time stage, unless we know better. And if we know better, right, we can reason ourselves into knowing that, what, this too shall pass. And the seasons will change. And this winter that we're in, we'll come out of it. And when we come out of it, guess what? Springtime. And then it'll be green again. And we go through this cycle. Now, this isn't anything you don't know. It's just talking about perspectives, the seasons and changes, being appreciative, being present. Be present for this dormant stage. This is part of the journey. The journey to transform culture isn't about just, the great times and the great transformations that come from hard work and diligence and the stick-to-itiveness of what it takes to be transforming culture, a culture ever in transformation, self-aware of its transformation in a birthing process or rebirthing process, self-aware that is in a rebirthing process, right? We are in a rebirthing process. And in this wintertime, we are kind of in the birth canal, right? In wintertime, or I should say we're approaching, the birth canal. And then in springtime, we'll see the light, right? The light will come out and the sun and green grass and we're off to the races again. And this is how it goes. And so I just wanted to say hello today and hope everybody's having a great winter day. right? Hopefully you're not too deep in snow. Be careful if you're driving on the roads. Plan, look ahead, make sure you got water and plenty of resources in your vehicle and with you, and help those who are stranded and struggling. And let's not forget those people who have suffered tragedies. Our hearts and our prayers go out to all of them as well, right? Because this winter time, this dormancy, this, though we're not fully to a rebirth scenario, we have to be empathetic, but we can bring our springtime to other people's winter, right? All right, folks, remember to hit that good domino 3 to 5 times a day to uplift, motivate, inspire, just encourage folks. And when you do that, not only are we transforming culture, we're transforming ourselves. And that's pretty special. All right, hit like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.